Well, it's going to keep getting worse because several of the hilts that have been trashed on in this episode are in my top 5.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
It's kind of funny.
I'm
It's
not
different
meaning
tastes.
to.
It's different tastes. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Always To There Are, a Star Wars discussion podcast. I am Josiah, here with my co-hosts Brady and Steven.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
I said it with more enthusiasm than that.
I said it differently and it was more cartoonish. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, governor.
I was going to leave out the governor part, but I'm glad you said it.
The dirtier, the better.
Right now, I really wish I knew what Gromit. I can't remember who's the dog and who's the.
I think Wallace is
It's
the
Gromit. Wallace is a human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gromit's
I
the
wish
dog.
I could hear Wallace's voice right now, so I could respond to "Dirtier the Better."
All right. Well, this
Fast,
week,
Steven, I don't think we're that dry.
we never landed on a topic of discussion for this week, so we're just kind of gonna vibe for an hour.
Well, I think did we just plan to have our top 5 hilts just kind of lead us into whatever?
Exactly. We were kind of just gonna that's what I was kind of thinking is we are gonna do a top 5 this week once again, and it's going to be a tier list or top 5 of our favorite lightsaber hilts. Just the hilts, not the full lightsabers themselves. I feel like if you want to,
the hilt design.
if you want to throw in an honorable mention for your favorite lightsaber sound, if you know that, if not, no pressure. But yeah, that's how we're gonna start the episode, and we'll kind of just see where that takes us. And what will probably end up happening is we will do someone's top 5, and that will lead into a 30-minute conversation, and then we'll do someone else's top 5 and lead into another.
That's what happened last week.
Yeah, our top 5 video games was like 40 minutes of the episode, which is great. It's fantastic.
I think my number 5 will make you happy, Josiah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think my number 3 will make you happy.
All right. Well,
I made him visibly
let's
twitch.
go ahead and jump right into it.
Who wants to start us off?
Steven would love to.
Yeah,
okay.
he kind of,
Let's
made
start-
his own rule and then went with it.
Hey, no, I didn't make my own rule. I made a decision about my top 5 that wasn't against any established rules because we don't have established rules.
This is fair. We don't have established rules.
The only rule was it needs to be the hilt and not anything else about a lightsaber.
Go ahead, Steven.
Okay, so I'll start with my honorable mentions.
Start with your honorable mentions. That's how these things work.
So we have Darth Calig's hilt, which is the he's part of the story, the level 1 through 50 character story for the Sith Inquisitor in the Old Republic. And part of it is he gives you the hilt. It's Calig's hilt, and it's just a cool design. It's a slightly curved blade. Has 2 little flanges at the emitter, and there's a couple of exposed wires on the outside of the hilt, and then the pommel is like a red LED, just glows red. Otherwise, it's a pretty plain hilt, just black and gray metal. It's not flashy. It's just because it's like. I would say that its degree of curve is somewhere between straight and Dooku's.
Like, extremely curved.
Josiah's over here giving me faces while I'm trying to describe the curve of this hill.
I'm just listening.
You know exactly what you're doing.
I'm listening and trying not to burst out laughing like a middle
Child.
school boy talking about curves and flanges and emitters.
Okay, so that's the first honorable mention. Second is Pong Krell's hilts.
Yeah,
And
there it is.
while his is my favorite sound, I like his hilts they're super unique because he's basically quad wielding light clubs. Because of the size of his hands, he doesn't have lightsabers, he has light clubs, and he's got 4 of them. But what he did is he attached them to hinges. So it's 4 independent lightsabers that are, just 2 of them are all attached to a hinge so that they can kind of fold up because they're so big.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he stores them. And I just think that's a cool idea of, like, especially for a 4-armed species, but he only uses 2 of them for lightsaber wielding. And then the other 2 are free to do kind of whatever, use the Force. Which I think is one of the... Something else unique about Pong Krell is he has that ability to... Like, anyone who, single wields a lightsaber can use the Force with their offhand or their free hand. But Pong Krell, he just has more flexibility, I think, with it. And I like that his lightsabers fold. And then,
So then you love Dark Ray's lightsaber too, don't you? It folds.
It does fold. The difference between Dark Ray's lightsaber and Pong Krell's is...
Can I, real quick, before you give an actual answer, can I give a suggested answer for this question? The real difference between Pong Krell's lightsaber and Dark Ray's lightsaber is that one of them is really cool and interesting, and the other one is mostly garbage.
The lightsaber or the character?
A little bit both.
Which one's the garbage?
Obviously, we're talking about Ray.
Oh, okay, I just want to clarify this.
Pong Krell's pretty
Dark
garbage
Ray
too.
specifically.
So,
could have been a really interesting plot point in and moment in Rise of Skywalker. Ended up just being
Dark Ray's lightsaber versus Pong Krell's. Pong Krell's is more out of a necessity because they're light clubs that he uses as a double-bladed lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that it would be designed to fold, just because it's otherwise would be real difficult to.
Just imagine if Darth Maul had to store 2 full of his hilts. That's too much length.
Yeah,
like on your belt.
So for Dark Ray to have, like, I like the idea of a double-bladed lightsaber that can fold up like that, but I think for a normal double-bladed lightsaber, it doesn't really make sense. But for a more unique style of lightsaber that's not your lightsaber, but like the light clubs or any other, like a light whip or any other variants, it would make sense.
Well, it's also the reason behind it was more like Dark Ray, they wanted to make her different and interesting. Whereas Pong Krell is like
cool factor.
It is actually like a major part of his character that you like look into. Like, oh, he has light clubs and he wields them as double lightsabers, which means that's like a 6-foot hilt, like sitting on his hip. If it doesn't fold up, and so and then Dark Ray was just like, look, it folds. And when you're clashing, it can fold up and trap your opponent's lightsaber.
The way they also, because if she had like a physical prop, the way I guess they built it, because when you watch her unfold it in the movie, you can see how like her arm like kind of like recoils
the weight of it
from the spring loaded. Whereas I guess because Pong Krell's is all animated, we don't get that kind of real world.
Well, part of that is that when they did the
reaction to it, but
the sequels, the way they did the lightsabers in the prequels and the original trilogy, the lightsabers were not like on the set. They weren't like lit up. Like they did that in post,
right?
Which I think was much better because what it allowed them to do is that you had just a light and maneuverable like stick based that they were fighting with, rather than in the sequel trilogy they wanted to make them all practical, and so they did all of the lightsabers were actual like LED they were full-on sabers, which means they're very heavy and
yes.
So you think like any of like our lightsabers, like you have 2 of those connected at the base, and then you have to like flip it for that to just like be like a smooth motion.
It's not a smooth.
Exactly, right?
I think that detracted like visually on screen. That detracted from like the coolness of her saber. But I mean, I saw a picture of it earlier of her lightsaber, of Dark Ray's lightsaber, and I mean the general design and aesthetic of it is pretty cool. But I just don't think they executed it very well in filming.
It's part of why the lightsaber combat in the sequel trilogy was so rough. Was he like part of like Kylo Ren's fighting style was definitely like more his character, but like Rey had a very similar, like you could tell the lightsaber she was wielding was heavy, and that like now lightsabers do have weight.
She also
it's as if you're wielding like a sword, but the way that it never looked like natural.
She's also not holding it centered when she flips it open, and so that creates an unbalance in her holding it. And that's I think that's ultimately why when she flips it out, it's more vertically oriented than any kind of horizontal. Like when Darth Maul reveals his double blade in Phantom Menace, he's got it horizontally, but it's one solid thing.
Classic.
All right,
so classic.
My third.
Anything to add? And there was kind of a whole discussion.
Huh?
Do you have any thoughts? I don't know why I got up on my Mac like that. Do you have any thoughts to add on the Dark Ray, Pong Krell?
No, I hate them both.
That's an opinion.
It is an opinion.
Why do you hate Pong Krell?
I think he added nothing other than like just to be an antithesis to what's going on in that current arc.
What about his lightsabers?
They're just really big double-bladed lightsabers.
Which in they are actually very plain.
Yeah, there's nothing like really crazy about them or anything.
They don't, other than being light clubs and on hinges, they don't actually have any like design features that really make them distinguished. They're very similar to basically the metal tube that we get in the Coder games.
Oh, it's so bad.
And those lightsabers are literally just a metal tube.
You mean all of like the base level lightsabers on like Ultimate Saber and Ultra Saber?
I mean, his lightsabers are very plain, which makes sense for a Jedi, but when he would have built them, he would have been, I guess, humble and not, what's the word I'm looking for? Ostentatious? No,
ostentatious.
Ostentatious. That's it.
Ostrich.
Yes. So, and then my final honorable mention is Maris Brood's Tonfas.
They're pretty sick.
They are. They're pretty cool.
I remember
I
remember watching those when I played Force Unleashed.
Does anyone else wield light Tonfas?
Not that we've seen.
Maybe
somewhere in the comics or the books, but
I couldn't even think of anything in comics that I've seen.
Even in the Wikipedia credits, it's just Maris Brood.
Yeah, and so, but I think my only issue with her Tonfas and that kept them off my top 5 is that the blades are, because they're Tonfas, the blades aren't long. So yeah, but I mean it's kind of the thing because they're Tonfas and they're not supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to have really long reach. So
man, they could have been so cool if they used that in Acolyte.
What would have been really cool is if they had emitters on either end.
And had double blade. Oh yeah,
like a short double bladed
like spin that, bro.
That would have been really cool.
Well, so
that would have put them on top 5.
Does the blade emit from the long or the short side?
The short side.
Short side.
Okay, that makes the most sense.
Yeah, but if they had like a shorter blade, maybe half the length of the blade that comes out the short side on the long end, that would have been so cool.
And then if they had a blade that came out of the handle, and there's 3 blades,
and she stabs herself.
So that brings me to my
that's a suicide button.
The fake top
capsule.
5 would be the Kylo Ren Swiss Army knife spoof lightsaber.
I'm surprised the sequel trilogy lightsaber major.
It didn't.
This is his fake
this
top
is my
5.
Fake.
Oh.
Have you seen that? The satire back when they first revealed Kylo Ren and his lightsaber, and then people started making the memes like they put out the blade and then the side emitters put out sides and then those split off to like battle axe, chainsaw.
I remember there's a specific YouTube video
or
where
it's like he has one blade and then the next guy comes out and he's got the crossguard. Another guy comes out and he's got 3 crossguards. And the guy comes out and he's got. And then suddenly you have a giant fan.
Yeah, I think it was the.
I've seen the meme where it's Maul when he admits it. It's just 17 blades.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a specific video where someone comes up and has the cross guard, and then the next person like emits it and it's an axe, and then the next person emits it and it's a flail, and then and it just keeps getting more and more outrageous, and someone like emits it and it's like a gun,
One
but
guy
like a
emits
lightsaber gun.
It's an actual Swiss Army knife with all the different blades and the little scissors.
The little
It's
scissors,
so
like
fun.
the set of pliers.
Yeah,
light
that's
pliers.
the most powerful emitter in all of Star Wars. And then you have the fake top 5, which was the Disney's reimagining of what lightsaber hilts are. You remember seeing those toys? Where it
Oh,
was like
the like build your own
hilt toy, and it was like all modular, and you could like have
it was
these.
terrible.
Oh my gosh,
It was the
those
one that you
were
had like
bad.
a lightsaber, but then each hilt had like a connector at the bottom, and you could buy other pieces. One of them was like a handle with like 5 connectors on it, so you could connect 5 blades to it. And then another, it was just like you could like legitimately with the system that they give you make just a like all of the jokes that we're making about like the
you
videos
make a
of,
spider web of hilts that all just kind of connect into some weird
it's just
amalgamation of blades pointing in every direction.
lightsaber toys peaked in the 2000s
Yes,
when we had just those like the
telescopic
hilt with the telescopic.
Yeah.
Now I will say later in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, when those got thinner and were like actually the size of a lightsaber hilt, amazing.
Because they were big and chunky.
Oh, bro, I remember, and they were all, it was always Obi-Wan's, like they would all be like the very well known hilts, but with different colored. We had an Obi-Wan's hilt with a purple blade. And we had one of my buddies had a Qui-Gon hilt with a blue blade. And I'm like, this is all wrong. It's all so wrong. The only one that never had, that I saw different colored blades was the Skywalker saber.
Yeah. So
And when I say Skywalker, that does not include Rey.
okay, so my real top 5. So my number 5 would be Darth Niles' lightsaber. And
Okay.
he is
I'm talking about from Coder 2.
no Darth Nile or Darth Nil.
Darth Nile Horan.
Yes. His hilt is a microphone.
Waking
Darth
up to
Nil, it's
kiss
Nihil. He was
nobody's
one
there.
of the one Sith under Darth Krayt after the fall of the Empire. But it was a long hilt. It was about 2 feet long. Had a giant ring on the end that you could stick your arm through. So you could swing it around your wrist, or you could hold it by that. And it's made out of. It's unknown if it's made out of metal
Vibranium.
or if it's made out of like a special
Adamantium.
bark from a type of tree.
Ooh.
But the one Sith were known for making their lightsabers out of this particular kind of bark. I can't remember what the bark is called.
Peppermint bark.
No. But it's just I like it because it's a long hilt, and I like the long hilts. Number 4 is the High Prophet's hilt, which is from Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's just one of the what?
Don't worry,
I
guys.
asked a singular question in the group chat today. It was like,
I-
are we
yeah, I
using
s- I
it?
saw
And
that.
like 3 of his have been from that.
I just want to let everyone know that my top 5 will all be immediately recognizable sabers, that when I say them, you will immediately visualize them in your brain. Because I'm a more casual.
Darth Niles. So let me go back to Darth Niles because his is very like gnarled. It looks like a tree branch, and it is. It's a long. It's really cool. So then there's the High Prophets, which is a normal sized, one-handed lightsaber hilt. It's, all silver with a black wrap around where you grip, and then it's got a long spike on the pommel, and then it's got 2 long spikes kind of angled outward at the emitter, and they're like flange spikes, so they look kind of webbed. They're not just like a
Like just
a pole.
an angular spike.
Yeah, they're not like a pole or a rod in shape. They're more flattened, and so
Okay.
they look more wing-like, but they're still pretty thin. So they're still more spike-like than wing-like. But I don't know. I just like it, and then it has some purple illuminated kind of highlights around the base of the emitter and the pommel. So it's just a good I would say because of the spikes on it, it's more of a dark side hilt. But purple is also kind of a color that's more neutral. So it's a fun hilt. I like it. Then we have Starkiller's hilt. It's my number 3. My number 3 is Starkiller's hilt, and
That's
I
my
really,
boy.
because I really like one. I like that it's very reminiscent of Anakin's hilt. It has the same kind of like iron sights for the
and it
belt
has
clip.
the same kind of like shrouded emitter to it.
Yes, but it has the exposed crystal chamber.
I also like I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself.
You're gonna keep your thoughts to yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself.
Why?
When I get to my list.
Oh, okay. You don't want to spoil it, huh?
I don't know.
Okay, so
I see a little bit of Yoda in there too.
Oh, really?
Similar a little bit to Yoda's. I love that the emitter that is the like, because Anakin's is like
It is a very classic,
like straight and sharp.
Mm-hmm.
But Starkiller's has that like curved, like open, like curved. So one side is longer than the other, but it's like it's not sharp. It's like curved. I love that emitter
It's rounded
so much.
It is. It's nice. It is. I think a pretty common emitter among Jedi, at least of that era.
Is
During when there were no Jedi?
During the Clone War era.
Starkiller was after Clone Wars.
Well, yes, but his
Yes, but not long. I mean, he was like 5 years old at the end of the Clone Wars.
is his lightsaber his dad's lightsaber?
No.
He built it.
He builds it in the very first cutscene.
Yeah.
That's like he's like meditating.
Well, I know
in
he
that
was like putting it
chamber.
together, but I never understood that to be that he was building his lightsaber.
I don't
He
know
was just
what
like
his
putting
dad's
it.
lightsaber looked like. I don't remember. So I don't know if his dad's lightsaber was a unique hilt or if it was just a generic.
My understanding of that scene was it was more of a meditation practice, the same way you would like disassemble and reassemble like a gun
Interesting.
or something like that. Like he was
I
like,
thought it was assembling his lightsaber.
I always
don't
interpreted that scene as he was doing it. He was assembling it that way as a way to kind of focus and control the force.
yeah, as a
and, practice.
Well, I mean, I always assumed it was like him putting his lightsaber together because I don't see why.
like for the first time.
Yeah.
I always thought it was the first time too.
Yeah, like for the very first time, because like I mean, Anakin was, he was a Jedi first and foremost, and Palpatine didn't teach him any Sith ways. I don't see why, Starkiller would have been taught as a child from Vader how to meditate, other than his he would have been teaching him some Jedi-esque ways.
Yeah.
And then going along that same vein, he would have built his lightsaber for the very first time.
Because when Vader was talking to Luke in Return of the Jedi, he's like,
He's very old to have built his lightsaber for the first time.
Well,
I mean, he's also an unconventional Sith.
It's fair.
Yeah. But and Vader would definitely teach him how to do it, because when Luke built his own lightsaber, the green one, Vader was like, "I see you constructed your own lightsaber. Your training's complete." I was like,
And
that line specifically is what probably you guys are probably correct.
Vader definitely saw building your own lightsaber as like, this is the final stage of your training.
Because that was like kind of the final stage of becoming a Jedi.
Right.
Like
he would just apply it to more Sith philosophy.
But he would still have that base founding as
Anakin, because we know
build your own lightsaber.
Anakin is still in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he would still be like, building your own lightsaber is your last step before you're my fully fledged apprentice. So, and that is where the game starts, right? Mm-hmm. Is you becoming like the fully fledged apprentice.
Well, I mean,
because your first mission is to go
as Starkiller. That's
kill.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go to Raxus Prime.
No.
To go kill Rom Coda.
You go to the space
station. Oh, no, you
station.
go to the space station, and then it's Raxus Prime after that. Yeah.
You go to the space station to kill Rom, which I always liked the first mission.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
I love the boss fight. As it's fallen, and you got to fight him, and you got the glass floor, and you can see the atmosphere heating up and burning around it. Mm-hmm. I always liked it.
Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
I like the Raxus Prime fight. I like that was like the first time as a kid seeing a lightsaber pike.
I seriously considered that lightsaber, at least for an honorable mention,
Yeah.
because I do like light pikes.
And it's cool seeing him on the with the spider legs
Yep,
and
yep.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a cool fight.
And is that one of the only other times we see a Force user on hodgepodge jerry rig spider legs besides Maul?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I can remember.
Same
Yeah,
that I can remember, yeah.
So I was looking at that light pike and I was like, that's a cool one. And I didn't want to use if I went with a white light pike, I really didn't want to use the Emperor's Shadow Guard and the Imperial Guard, because they all have light pikes too. But
Yeah,
And
those are all
the Jedi Temple Guards.
Yeah, I don't know if I would consider the Temple Guards as having light pikes, because they don't have the full length 5 foot, 6 foot.
I don't
pole.
remember what they're classified as, but the hilt is as long as the blade.
Yes.
Whatever the classification of that weapon is.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I think they're called light pikes, but in a realistic sense, I wouldn't consider them to be a pike, because
you talking about the Imperial Guard or
the Temple Guard.
Temple Guard? Yeah,
No, the Imperial Guard, they have light pikes.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is too is
Oh no, they're the double.
Yeah, I always
The
thought
short double,
I always thought the Temple Guard had the double blades,
like the double Tanto.
Yeah, they're not as
Or Shoto?
long as Maul's.
In Star Wars, it's Shoto, right?
Offhand.
Shoto is like a shortened wakizashi, whereas a Tanto is just a dagger. It's like a 6-inch blade. Yeah. But do their lightsabers, do they fold?
No.
Guards?
Yeah.
No. That's why they're
the Temple Guard.
stationary.
They're
all
literally
the
just
time.
like a.
They're just a.
It's
what?
Darth Maul's hilt length with.
Are they Darth
shortened-
Maul's or are they a little longer?
If anything, they're a little longer, but the blades are shorter,
Yeah, the blades are shorter. I mean, those are cool.
which I do really like.
Those are cool lightsabers, but they're not unique. I think all the Temple
They're all the
Guards
same,
have
yeah.
the same hilt.
Well, it's also, I mean, the blade length too can be controlled because
That's
they always have they have the dial on the lightsaber that can
Yeah.
extend and lengthen.
we don't talk about very often.
No, it's not a talked about feature.
Yeah.
They can also the power level can be adjusted on
Yeah.
it too.
I think Vader's one of the only ones that
Has visible knobs for.
and also just regularly makes use of it in modern canon.
Okay, so my number 2. This is the one that you guys were saying is the cop out. I made up my own rules, but
At least it's not number 1.
Number 2
It's
is not
not-
your favorite. You're a
it's no.
what?
No. So my number 2 is a lightsaber that I designed for my OG Sith character, Darth Viserys. And he's a very ostentatious Sith. He's very eccentric. He's very vain. He has outfits for literally every occasion, every kind of meeting. So his lightsaber
Sounds like someone I know.
Mm-hmm. So his lightsaber, in keeping with, Sith, they like to have very fancy looking lightsaber hilts. His has it's black and silver with bronze, or not bronze, but brass highlights on it. It's got the Sith code engraved at the base of the hilt. It's got the Sith flag engraved at the base of the emitter, and it has a big nasty blade on the emitter that comes out, so that if he doesn't have the blade activated, he can still slice you with the physical blade.
Okay.
And I mean,
Get behind that.
his name, Darth E. Viserys, it's a portmanteau of the word eviscerate and the word vicious. So, and he is a very cruel Sith, so he built his blade. He built his hilt to have a blade on it so that he can torture if he needs to, and in a way that won't be. I mean, I guess getting hit by a lightsaber blade is painful, but because it's so hot, it cauterizes and probably kills the nerves right away. So you don't really feel everything that you could be feeling. He doesn't like that, so he wanted a blade on his lightsaber that he could, because he's evil. He's a Sith. So, but it has an exposed crystal chamber, because that's probably my favorite feature of lightsaber hilt, which is why Star Killers is number 3. So that's my number 2. You guys want to guess what my number 1 is?
honestly have no idea. It's a Sith saber for sure.
I have no idea.
Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, you are right. It is a Sith saber.
Hold on. My guess is Palpatine. Continue.
What do you think, Brady?
Just because
it could be anything. That's the thing.
Because that's his number 2.
I could have sworn that would have been his number 1.
I will say that my OG saber it's pretty similar to Palpatine's, at least in color scheme. Because Palpatine's is black with some silver highlights and then gold highlights on it.
No, it's like pale silver and gold.
It's like
the one he uses in the movie doesn't have a single ounce of black on it.
It's like to me it looks black. It's like a dark.
Yeah, I mean it's like gorgeous and pristine.
I'll have to go back and
yeah.
look at it. But I've always like when he like pulls it out of his. To me, it looks black.
It's not. It is.
Maybe it's just the reflection of his robe sleeve.
It might have been like bad lighting, but it is pristine.
It's just silver and gold.
It is silver and gold.
I'll have to go look at it in the movie and see.
Yeah, so that's got to be bad lighting on your part, because
my number 1. Oh, so the other thing about my OG is that it is an 18-inch hilt.
Good lord!
It is an 18. It has a foregrip and it has a rear grip on it, so that a Viserys will usually wield his blade using the Force, because he's not
like Darth Treya.
Yeah, well, he's not physically imposing. He's kind of a scrawny, smaller person. And so he prefers to use the Force to wield it, because if he had to use his own arms, he would probably be overpowered by most other opponents. But when he does wield it physically, he's got a foregrip and then a rear grip with like a good foot of distance in between the two, so that he can kind of get that leverage on the pommel.
I could see that.
And then
what's your number 1?
Tulak Horde's hilt.
I was gonna guess Tulak Horde.
You're gonna guess Tulak Horde? Why didn't you?
Because Tulak Horde's on mine.
Oh, really? Yeah, Tulak Horde's hilt is my number 1, and it also has
has a blade on it.
It also has a blade, which I didn't know when I designed mine.
How do you spell
that? Tulak is Tulak. Horde is in like
Hord.
Hord.
Tulak Horde is considered to be the greatest lightsaber duelist of all time. One of the most powerful Sith of all time, and there's theories that he's one of the original Dark Jedi that were exiled after the Second Great Schism.
Yeah.
But it's
such a gorgeous saber.
It is a pretty plain and simple hilt. Like, it doesn't have anything super flashy about it.
I mean, it's not flashy, but like the actual handle is not cloth wrapped. It's like segmented, like brackets.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So cool.
What I love about it is the emitter is thicker.
Yeah.
Than the grip.
Yes.
So it's got a thick pommel.
And it's got a thick emitter.
And then it's got a thinner grip in between the two. Mm-hmm. And it gives it a really unique look to it that I love.
And and then you add an actual blade to it.
And then you add an actual blade onto it. And there's a slight curve. So when you look at the edge of the pommel, when you look at the top corner of the pommel and the top corner of the emitter, and the way that it goes from thick to thin to thick, it has a slight parabolic curve to it, rather than a flat line, then a dip, flat line, and then a rise, flat line. So, and it's very sleek. It's very elegant in its profile. Fantastic hilt.
Tulak Horde is on my list.
All right, well, why don't we start there then with your list, Brady?
Okay. Well, since I was unaware, I'm gonna spur of the moment add a fourth honorable mention.
Go ahead.
So I also added an honorable mention in the midst of this conversation.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So, we'll go with top to bottom honorable mentions. Maris Brood is one of my honorable mentions.
Yep.
Maris Brood is I remember getting to her as a kid, and I was like, that is so cool. It was right around the time I got done playing Soul Calibur 2, which had Talim, who uses tonfas. She uses bladed tonfas, and so like I don't know, it was really cool watching her come out of the like dark woods of Felucia, and she's got these like bladed.
Felucia was my favorite level in that game.
I liked that they added like a sentient race to Felucia.
Yeah, and they were cool looking too.
They were cool looking. They were force sensitive. There's a lot of cool stuff that was added. Honorable mentions Dooku.
Dooku's got a good hilt.
Yeah.
Dooku's got a good hilt. Like, it's unique. It has that like, you know, it's got the obvious curve to like a fencing duelist because Christopher Lee was a fencer.
Yeah.
It's got the gold, the little bits of gold accents with the stark silver. It's got that to the emitter. It's got that really long prong on the end of it.
Oh my gosh! When you said that he was a fencer and that he's got the curve to the hilt, I just realized he's a dirty French gripper.
Well, he's also like the descendant of Charlemagne, so.
Well, yes, I know, but so in fencing, because I'm a fencer and I coached FA for a long time.
See, I think it's so funny. It's funny that you coached Epee because there's like an actual like fencing hilt in the High Republic.
Yes, and so everyone I coached, I strongly discouraged them using the French grip. Because it's the straight grip where it has to hug the inside of your wrist. The other kind of grip in fencing is called a pistol grip, and it was designed, from everything I've ever heard, it was designed primarily for soldiers returning from World War I who were missing fingers, and they could no longer use a French grip. So they designed a grip that kind of looks like the back end of a pistol. So that you can hold it like you would a gun, and you hook a finger around a little trigger piece.
What's left of?
And there's like a little hammer that sticks up between your thumb and your forefinger or your pointer finger, and it's technically called an orthopedic grip, but people usually just call them pistol grips
because that's what it.
Yes, and so they just give you way more. Pistol grips just give you way more control over the point using your fingertips,
which is critical to that style of fighting.
Which is just it gives a slight advantage. It just gives you finer point control. Whereas a French grip, its big advantage is that with a French grip, you are allowed to do what's called pommeling, which is where you hold the grip by the pommel. And this gives you about 2 to 2.5 inches of extra reach.
Which is very critical in combat.
Can be very. However, you sacrifice a significant portion of grip strength. And if your opponent beats your blade with enough force, they can disarm you. And you just drop your sword and they knock it out of your hand.
Well, and so when you don't have an actual blade.
When I was coaching, I was like, I don't want you using the French grip. But I mostly coached beginners, and it's like, I want you using pistol grips. I coached at a university.
But yeah, one of my second honorable mention would be Dooku. My third honorable mention would have been Jedi Master Skier's lightsaber from the High Republic.
Oh, okay. I don't. Who's Jedi Master Skier?
It is until I learned today, a really short Trandoshan, 5'6".
A Trandoshan Jedi, interesting.
Yeah, and Skier is spelled 2 S's, K-E-E-R. If you want to look it up. It's got a really short hilt to it, but it has kind of like this segmented portion where it looks kind of like it has like you know how like bearded axes from Norway have the axe handle curves over, and it's like that so you can grip it up near the axe head. Mm-hmm. It's like that. And it's really bulky like a Trandoshan, that like you would think a Trandoshan would wield.
Oh, interesting.
It's a really nice piece. It's ergonomically looking for a 3-pronged race because they only have 3 fingers. Right. It's a really nice. Since I've only read like 2 or 3 comics of the High Republic, and that was one of the first pieces that like really like.
Did you like?
I liked reading it so far. Yeah, that's Jedi Master Skier.
I mean, I will say that I do like the artwork of the High Republic. But-
I mean, I love from what I've read, I enjoyed.
When they came out with a character named Boulder,
I don't know.
and he was literally just a rock. That he was a force-sensitive rock, and that's all he was.
We talked about this a lot.
A boulder. This is when I was like, I don't care about Boulder. But that is a cool looking.
Should have called him Rocco.
There's a lot of cool lightsabers. I mean, they released an entire like collection book for the High Republic. Fourth honorable mention, since I didn't know we were doing OC lightsabers here, would be Calibris's lightsaber from when he was part of the Jedi Order. It's kind of long. It's a longer hilt. It's about 2 hands worth, kind of like Kyle Katarn's third lightsaber.
His third, I can't picture his third lightsaber.
So his third lightsaber had the like sleek, kind of like 2-lock cords handle, but it had a sleeve over it that he could. It was kind of like almost like a saber staff.
Okay.
But the cool feature about it is that it had a shrouded emitter and a secondary button to where that's Kyle Katarn's third lightsaber.
Oh, it's almost segmented.
Yeah, but it's still connected. His crystal chamber has a piece of glass and a separized chamber that can wrap around it, because he can inject at the bottom of the pommel has a fuel canister that he can use as a flamethrower. And
that's very Mandalorian of him.
I mean, he's a Mandalorian, so
yeah.
It's very angular. I haven't drawn it out yet, but it's very angular, like Mandalorian stuff is. He made it from Beskar.
Well, now there's a hilt.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Darksaber's not on here.
I didn't even consider the Darksaber.
It's a lightsaber.
It is, and it's a cool one. Is it? No, it's actually.
Is it a Darksaber?
It is a Darksaber.
Ha 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 ha.
It uses a crystal and a titanium power cell. It's a lightsaber. Number 5 on my list would be Galen Merrick's.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love Galen Merrick's. That's the very first time I ever saw an exposed crystal chamber.
Exposed
cool.
chambers are cool. They are cool.
They are cool. My favorite part of Starkiller's lightsaber is the fact that crosshair piece is made out of like a see-through plastic.
Huh.
Do you remember that? In the game, that part isn't made out of. It's made out of like a see-through kind of plastic, unlike the rest of the lightsaber. And I just thought it was a unique material in the.
Is that plasteel?
No, it's transparent steel.
There we go.
I love that you can just tell the property of a steel in Star Wars by its name.
Well, I actually had to look up.
Plasteel, Durasteel, transparent steel.
My fourth mention is Kyle Katarn's third lightsaber, because I played Jedi Knight 2 a lot growing up.
See, I played Jedi Knight 2 once, so the Kyle Katarn saber I am the most familiar with is the one he gets from D.
I know what you're talking about.
That was his first saber.
That was his first saber.
Yeah.
Which is...
And I loved green sabers too back then.
It was cool. It was cool. I liked the little gold raised area of that lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Third mention is Palpatine.
It's a good one.
They are...
Dude, Palpatine
pretty.
has a sleek, very clean lightsaber.
And he's got 2 of them. They are... And I like that they're really short too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They are a very short hilt.
I like
they're meant to be wielded with one hand.
Right, but only.
You can't two wield them, or like two hand them.
Yeah.
My favorite part about Palpatine is how very like it's not ostentatious. It's that different style of like very. You can tell that he spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
On this lightsaber, like he had the wealth to do this. It wasn't like, he found some like really nice material on a random planet during his, time in the Senate. Like he spent money to have this made. It's
what kind of conversation is that? You go up to a manufacturer and you're like, I need you to make something for me, but you can't know what it is. Either he killed them all, or he like had this one part made over here, this other part made, and he assembled himself.
Or I cannot remember his name, but the droid that like made lightsabers would still have been alive.
Was it Horang? No, that's a Tekken character.
No,
It's close to that.
His name is Doctor Who, or Barty Crouch Jr.
He was the character in Ahsoka, wasn't he? He was that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
David Tennant.
Hu Yang.
Yeah. Hu Yang.
You were close.
I knew it was something like that.
Hu Yang.
It's like a.
I almost want to say Hu Jang, but I knew there wasn't a J in it, so I was like, I didn't say anything. So I defaulted to my bad humor.
I love how like sleek, and I love how they obviously display his wealth and power. I love how the emitter, there is no traditional emitter to his lightsaber.
Well, there's no shroud to the emitter.
There's not even. It's just like a little. It's like it's like a little nipple.
Yeah,
with a ring around it. It is, and it's got that like 70s sci-fi feel to it. You know, like something you would see out of Star Trek.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. It's very.
I know what it is you're saying.
Yeah, it's a very sleek lightsaber, and I love that. I love that about him. Number 2 is Tulak Horde.
Number 2 is oh well, God, what's your number 1?
Number 2 is Tulak Horde. Tulak Hordes is really cool.
It really is. I'm glad that we both chose Tulak Horde.
Tulak Horde's lightsaber is really cool.
Yeah.
If I knew we were using like ones from Star Wars: The Old Republic, I would have picked that Ashlaw lightsaber, the one where like the rocks are like emitting around it and stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen it. This must be a newer one.
That was the one I bought, and I sent a picture of it to you.
Let me look. Oh, my phone's too far away. I don't reach for it.
Ashla is spelled Ashla.
Is there a Bogan?
Yeah.
Lightsaber?
Mm-hmm.
See, there's another lightsaber hilt in the Old Republic that I considered, but then because the one...
Yeah, dude, it's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It is really cool.
There is... But because we had our one rule of we have to base it off the hilt itself and not the blade, there is the Ziost lightsaber in the Old Republic, and the emitter creates a slight lightning flicker around the base of the blade by the...
Yeah, look at that.
That is a sweet, sick lightsaber.
Sexy lightsaber.
It really is.
And you know me, I'm really big on like the Jedi and like the old ways.
Because the Ziost saber, the lightning effect is part of the blade.
That's the Bogan one. Yeah, dude. They're really cool.
That's amazing.
They're really cool.
No, I won't. I had to eliminate the Ziost lightsaber because that was a blade effect, not part of the hilt.
Not actual hilt.
Yeah, so I couldn't. I had to nix it.
So,
what is your? I want to try to guess your number.
I want you guys to try and guess my number 1 lightsaber of all time.
It's not Starkiller. That was your number.
No, that was my number 5.
That was your number 5, and it's not Tulak Horde. That was your number 2.
Yep.
Your number 1.
Number 1 of all time. All time.
Your number 1 of all time.
A lot of this has to play with like nostalgia from.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what
so I'm gonna say Vader.
I'm gonna say Luke's lightsaber, the one he built.
Ew. No. I prefer the Skywalker saber.
It is better.
I don't like the thin neck. I don't like the thin neck emitter.
So then that gets rid of Obi-Wan's.
That gets rid of Obi-Wan's second.
Yes.
His first one didn't have a thin neck.
In that case, it could be Qui-Gon.
It could be Qui-Gon's.
It's Qui-Gon's.
My
my favorite lightsaber of all time is Qui-Gon Jinn.
A lot of lightsabers are when you look at them, you can see quite like that one I was talking about, the Ziost lightsaber. When you look at it, its model, you can see Qui-Gon's lightsaber in it.
I love Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, man. I love that like when he was picked as a Jedi Knight, he originally, like, when he graduated from Padawan to Knight and he completed it, he was actually when he built his saber, he was originally given a Guardian crystal, but he chose a green crystal for a green focusing crystal. He chose that. Could you imagine a Qui-Gon Jinn lightsaber with a blue blade? I love how it's primarily black. I love how it's got that, it's got that sleek single sleeve going up around the ignition button. I love how just kind of like Palpatine's, there's almost no emitter to it. Like there's just that little lip for the blade to come out.
Yeah.
It's got a very thin pommel. It's very ergonomic. It's
very simple.
It's very simple, but it's so complex at the same time, because underneath that singular silver sleeve, his entire body of his lightsaber is like a Z. Like they're like like shingles almost. Like it's layered, like segmented.
It's segmented.
And it's so gorgeous. Ugh. It's so gorgeous.
That big red button on the front.
And just that
I loved
chunky big red button.
I loved the big red button.
It was the only lightsaber of like the toys that the ignition being a big red button made sense.
Yep.
The other ones had them, and it was like, this doesn't work. But for his, it worked because it was actually a feature of his hilt.
Like, it's so gorgeous.
It is
and if
really good.
And if you look at his like the picture of it from the movie, the emitter's not silver; it's actually black.
Really?
Yep. When he drops it underneath in the power chamber in Naboo, when he like gets kicked and it like falls, it has a black emitter. So almost all of that is black except for that silver sleeve.
You want to know what hilt looks really good when you see a shot of it being dropped to the ground?
What?
The Grandmaster of that Qui-Gon's looks good.
It's so good.
The Grandmaster of the Jedi Order in the Deceived trailer of the Old Republic, Star Wars Old Republic.
Yeah, there it is. The black emitter.
Yep.
From the movie.
And when Darth Malgus attacks the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and we see that big battle, and he finally kills the Grandmaster, and the Grandmaster drops his lightsaber, and you see like the green wisps kind of fading,
crystal,
and the camera is like zoomed in on the lightsaber as it deignites and like rolls to a stop on the ground. That's a good looking lightsaber hilt.
It is a good looking lightsaber hilt.
It looks so much better, I think, because of the shot. Otherwise, I think it'd be pretty standard lightsaber hilt if you were to just like see it in someone's hand. But that one shot made it look really good.
Yeah, a lot of these lightsabers were like for my top 5 were like nostalgia, way you first see them. Like a lot of Palpatine's lightsaber, other than the fact that you can tell that he spent a lot of money, was his delivery for that very first time. You see like him just straight out of his coat.
So, okay, when that happens, is he using the Force to pull it out, or is it like spring-loaded?
Oh, it's the Force.
What do you think, Josiah?
I don't think it's I don't think it's spring-loaded.
Definitely the Force.
I think he's high. I think his like coat had something to hold it.
Right. Oh, definitely.
But I totally think he just like whips it out with.
But the way he catches it, it looks the same as when someone like pulls their lightsaber. The way it like moves quickly and then stops, it doesn't seem, because if it was spring loaded, he would have like had to like catch it. But the way it comes to his hand and then stops.
I just a curious question, because the way you would think, like, how would you film this? It'd be like a little spring loaded thing. Like when he straightens his arm, it pulls a latch that releases the spring and it shoots into his arm, and it's connected to some little telescopic rod that shoots forward.
I guess that could be really driven down to how many like actually digging into the takes.
But also just kind of like,
because if that was the case, there's no guarantee that he could have caught that on one thing.
Well, I mean, unless it's attached to a metal rod.
Yeah. But then that would make his arm look stiff.
I always thought his arm did look stiff. Well, to me, it also very comes off as like an Assassin's Creed move when they activate their
ejecting blade,
their little ejecting wrist blade, and they're like kind of like a Spidey. Let me throw my wrist out and like pull my hand back a little bit so I don't stab it.
It's iconic, man.
Yeah.
The way they like pull their hand. Oh,
Yes.
But,
oh, I love it.
When I would see Palpatine do that, it always made me think of that kind of motion. That's why I asked the question: is it spring loaded?
I could see it being spring loaded.
Is it an Ezio blade but a lightsaber, or is it the Force and he pulls it out of his sleeve?
But if you ask me as a fan, I totally think he pulled.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
But I could. The argument could be made that it could be spring loaded.
Yeah.
But like you notice on my list, it's like a lot of very sleek.
Yeah.
Lightsabers, and I like the sleek design, and that's mainly because growing up, the only lightsabers we really had to go off of watching the original trilogy were really bulky.
Yeah.
Like Vader's is huge.
Vader's is very big.
It is very big. It's a very chunky lightsaber.
But he's got robot hands, so he probably doesn't care.
And he's also like 8 feet tall. The Skywalker saber, Luke's original, it's still kind of chunky because back in the 70s.
It is like down at the bottom, especially.
Yeah. It's still a
but
chunky.
But that's because of the rubber strips they used to
but it's still
make the grip.
Yeah. But it's still a chunky lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then even Luke's his like actual lightsaber that he makes with the thin neck. The thin neck is the only part of that lightsaber that's kind of thin because the like switch box is absolutely massive.
It is very big. It's probably the reason why Anakin's saber is not on my list is because that switch box is very big.
Yeah, it's huge.
If it wasn't there, his lightsaber would be much more sleek and would be much higher
and
up on the list.
And so like growing up, I only had exposure to all these like chunky, like really bulky lightsabers because even Obi-Wan's original lightsaber had that huge, awkward-looking pommel. It had that like circular pommel with the like rivets on the end.
Yeah.
And like a ring. But Qui-Gon's was just sleek, slender. Like it looked like the weapon of a Jedi like a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
Like he's wizened and he's fought many battles, and it just looks like that. Tula Cords emanates that.
His emanates the kind of the warrior brutality that you see in his armor.
Yeah, but yeah, I like sleek lightsabers.
All right, Josiah.
All right.
All from the prequel trilogy.
That's actually not at all the case. Honorable mentions. First off, shout out to the Skywalker saber, just for like the pure, just iconic nature of it.
The original
it
lightsaber.
Is the lightsaber.
It is. And it other than the black rubber bands on its hilt.
It's a nice saber.
It is
I do like
pure
it.
silver, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice saber.
I do like it.
Other than those huge rubber strips.
It looks way better in Revenge of the Sith.
It does.
Yes, very much so.
It doesn't look nearly as chunky.
Yeah. Second, Darth Maul's lightsaber, also for the impact of like when it's the first double-bladed lightsaber. When you watch that and
live action,
yes.
But at the time,
the time the general fandom did not know of Exar Kun.
When you watch that movie, you're like, did he just ignite a second lightsaber blade?
Yeah, and he like pulls it out horizontally, and you're like, what's he doing?
Yeah, because he ignites both of them separately.
Exactly, because he ignites the first one, you're like, oh no, and then it's red. That's bad. And then the second one comes out, you're like,
because when he tries to run over Anakin on Tatooine,
he only has the one.
He only uses one.
And when you see, this is why I love long sabers, is because when he is on the ground after they fly off and you see him, you see he's holding it by the close up to the emitter with one hand, and he deignites the saber, and you just see this really long thing. I'm like, that looks so cool. And then we know why it's so long later in the movie.
Because it has a second trick.
It's a second lightsaber.
Darth Maul's is classic, just pure nostalgia, pure like just for what it felt like to watch it.
Yeah.
Even when we went and saw the re-release, like it was just when he ignited that second saber, it was just that like rush of like, oh my gosh.
The reason Maul's not on mine is I don't like his emitter.
I
I
don't
actually
like
really
his,
like. I really like his emitter.
I it's okay. I don't like the button layout on his saber.
I love the button layout. I don't like the like cone emitter that he has.
Mhm.
That like Plo Koon has an ugly lightsaber.
Oh, Plo Koon's lightsaber is not good.
So is Kid Fisto's. Kid Fisto's is ugly too.
Kid Fisto's my favorite Jedi. But
He's
his
got
lights-
ugly lightsaber.
Kid Fisto's up there as my favorite Jedi's as well.
But he's got an
Fisto is
ugly.
my
I
favorite
even
Jedi.
looked up the twins in the Clone Wars, like their lightsabers.
Which twins?
Was it Pilar and?
Are these the ones with like
Oh,
the red
I like
and the?
Plo Koon's
Is this
lightsaber.
the red and the green twins?
that have the like wispy hair?
Yeah.
I even looked up theirs, and theirs is really bland.
I can't remember who killed.
It was 5s.
It was Fives.
It was 5.
Mhm.
Okay. With the malfunction and
Oh, gonna make me cry.
such a good such a good arc.
Oh,
But
so
I looked
sad.
up their lightsaber too because I really liked their character, like their race. I thought they were really cool, but
Yeah.
their lightsaber is kind of bland.
Actually, I like Kit Fisto and Plo Koon's lightsabers. They're
um,
not on my list, but
I don't like the cone.
I
and
like the
don't
look
like
at 'em.
I don't like the
The little, like,
power
block.
cell emitter.
Yeah, I don't like the button layout on it. It's too, I don't know. All the buttons, they're too like evenly spaced.
I think for me it's the thin neck for his like saber staff. It's the body of his lightsaber is kind of thin, and then he's got these chunky cone emitters on the end for Maul.
Yeah.
And then like Plo Koon has a standard looking lightsaber, and then has this massive cone on for the pommel, and then has a traditional power cell circular object on the top. Anyways, continue, Josiah. I'm sorry.
We're just tearing apart his
No.
honorable mention.
Well, it's gonna keep getting worse because several of the hilts that have been trashed on in this episode are in my top 5.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
It's kind of funny. It's
not
different
meaning
tastes.
to.
It's different tastes.
It is different. This is totally subjective
Another
lists.
honorable mention that I added during this episode is Mace Windu.
I love Mace Windu's
lightsaber is really great.
He
It's
has a good one.
sleek. It's gold.
It's similar. It's like
It's engraved
if
with
Palpatine's
Yeah.
if Palpatine's had black on it, it's kind of like a similar. I do really like the way his is. It's small, and it's like it fills his hand, but then the emitter like goes down. The emitter
Yeah.
is smaller than the hilt.
Yeah, and it's got like a tube at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love his lightsaber.
Oh yeah, his looks really cool. Another honorable mention. This comes from when I was building my own lightsaber. Anything that has like a leather wrapped section in the hilt, I love. Like,
I'm disappointed Yoda's didn't have one.
I love the leather wrapped look.
Mm.
Part of that just was like I like leather. Like leather just looks really nice.
It does.
But like when I was like going through like building my lightsaber, the one I wanted to like my lightsaber that I built for me had like a big leather wrapped hilt piece.
I feel like using leather is a very Jedi thing to do.
Yeah,
You don't
it
really
seems very
see
like
it
High
with-
Republic.
You
Because
really
in
don't
the-
see it with Sith sabers.
In the prequel trilogy, they're much more the like industrial. It's like they're all like silver with some black, and like Mace Windu is one of the only ones that has gold on it.
They're very
Yeah.
mechanical.
But then you look back at the High Republic, then you have the leather wrapped hilts and more like brown and gold and like
Yeah, a
more of
lot
like
of
a
gold.
lot of
Yeah.
warmer
You
colors.
see a lot of leather bound hilts in the Old Republic too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot in the Old Republic.
You see a lot of gold in the High Republic, like Stellan Gios's lightsaber has a cross guard.
Mhm.
It has like gold filigree that the lightsaber, like the side blades, end at the tip of that filigree.
I've seen that in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that one.
Stellan Gios has a really cool lightsaber.
I'll have to look it up.
It's the High Republic lightsaber.
Yeah.
And it's the one that it has the hilt and then it has like the two.
Yeah,
the,
they
the,
like
cr-
they
the
like
cross
they like
guard
So-
like connects.
So it basically is Excalibur.
Well,
Kind of, yeah.
kind of. There's a Jedi Master
What's it
that
called?
has Stellan Gios, STLLANGIOS, and then there's a Jedi Master that you said that you taught Epee, that he has like the full on like hand guard.
That's Saber. In fencing, but yeah.
You know what I mean.
I have to.
Oh, and it like folds up too.
Yeah, it folds up, fully folds up.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
I like
I also
Stellan
just love like a
Geosis.
classic like longsword.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
a classic like just honest to God longsword. Like the little like the flared pommel and the straight cross guard.
Still a
There's
lightsaber Narsil.
There's a Wookiee
Narsil is a great
Jedi
pull.
Master in the High Republic that has like straight up knobs on the side of his lightsaber, so it looks like he has like an English longsword
Mhm.
cross guard in the High Republic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool lightsabers.
Last honorable mention might be a little bit of a hot take, but is Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
I love
I
Kylo Ren's
was
lightsaber.
just-
His lightsaber
I
hilt.
was just thinking. I'm surprised I haven't heard Kylo Ren's. He has a cool lightsaber.
I
He does.
love Kylo Ren's hilt.
I don't like the wiring so much,
Yeah.
but I love all of the like scorch marks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beaten. It's like kind of like unfinished in a way. It reflects
where he is in his journey.
it reflects his character. Potentially it may be the best reflection of a hilt reflecting the character in Star Wars. Save maybe like Ezra and Kanan's are both very specific to like Kanan's is like it the big like noticeable thing is it breaks down, and that's because he's like in hiding, and then
Yeah.
Ezra is Ezra, and so he makes a stun gun that is also a lightsaber, and so
really doesn't ever do anything, which is disappointing.
but
He uses it to help defeat the Grand Inquisitor.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, he took the Grand Inquisitor by
just
total
building
surprise.
just building
by
it is
like,
kind of like is in and of itself a like major
No, I mean, no,
like accomplishment.
The accomplishment of building Ezra's saber was nice,
like the
but I'm saying like outside of that one remarkable feat, the stun blaster does absolutely nothing.
That's absolutely true. You're
that's
right.
fair.
through the entire
But-
series, other
That's
than him shooting it just for the sake of shooting it.
He uses it to some effect against stormtroopers 2 or 3 times, but he got the most use out of it when he confused the Grand Inquisitor by deigniting his saber, and the guy's like, "What?" And then he shoots him. He's like, "Oh crap!"
All right, so that's all of my honorable mentions. Coming into number 5 is Kanan Jarrus's lightsaber.
I love Kanan
I
Jarrus.
love it. It is the most like
It is a straight up katana hilt
Caleb
that you can
Doom.
take apart and hide.
I love just the makeup of his is like it looks like if someone took a picture of a longsword and was like, "Hey, make this but Star Wars, make it look Star Wars." So you keep the crossguard with the I cannot remember what the little piece at the base of the blade is called.
Of a katana? Are you talking about like the
Little like the part that like slides on. Oh, dang it! It's like it sits right above the crossguard.
Oh, the little brass piece.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about now.
And it has that like his emitter looks like that. It's like the the crossguard disc with
Well, I
the
said his lightsaber is just a straight up katana hilt.
yeah. It's very similar. I love Kanan Jarrus's lightsaber.
I like that it disassembles.
Yeah,
I do too.
that does also reflects his character. Like
Yeah,
he's in hiding and it like when he first like takes it out, like you know it's coming. But it's super cool when they're like, "What's he doing?" and he like screws it on and then it's great. Love that one.
Does he ever assemble it using the Force,
I don't think so.
or does he only ever put it together
He
manually?
only ever puts it together manually.
I can't ever remember him dismantling it or assembling it with the Force.
He doesn't. I don't think. I mean, even in the time that he's teaching Ezra to like quote unquote meditate, he never does that meditation practice.
Yeah, and I never. I'm talking about like whenever they get into a fight.
No,
And
he never puts it together.
Does he ever? He always reaches with his hands.
He
to
always
put it
reaches with
together.
his hands, and you always hear the click.
Do you hear the click?
Yep, you hear the click every time.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a nice detail.
So, coming in at number 4 is Obi-Wan's second hilt, and I also put it in the same bracket. But also at number 4 is Luke's
Second.
lightsaber hilt. His technically
So
second.
Obi-Wan's second hilt. That's the one in A New Hope.
So it
Yes.
is, yes, but it's also the one in Revenge of the Sith. Or Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because he loses his first hilt at the end of Phantom Menace.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love, or is it in Phantom Menace or is it in Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones.
He loses it in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, he loses it at the end in the Duel of the Fates. Maul kicks it off.
He kicks it and he uses
Yep,
Qui-Gon's lightsaber to kill him.
Yep. But yeah, I love I like the thin piece at the end, like right before the emitter.
The thin neck.
And Luke's, if you look at them side by side,
They're kind of similar.
Luke's hilt is extremely similar, and I think part of that is he was.
Well, he also
basing
has the thin neck emitter,
Yes.
like Obi-Wan did.
Yep, and I think part of that is he was like basing it
Yeah, he was
similarly to Obi-Wan's
training.
saber.
The coolest thing, I think the coolest fact
His,
about
imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
now, I think the coolest fact about a lightsaber hilt in all of Star Wars has to do with Obi-Wan's second hilt. That's the prop was made out of an old, disarmed British hand grenade.
That is cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, that grid pattern on the grip portion of where it looks kind of like a turtle shell. That is the fragmentation shell of the old World War II era
That is
British
so
hand grenade.
cool.
And they took out they took the outer casing, and that's what they made the grip. And it's the coolest factoid about lightsaber hilts in all of Star Wars.
That is so cool. I did not know that.
Alec Guinness's lightsaber is literally just a British hand
It's
grenade.
just a British hand grenade.
Yeah, it's that like
I don't know the model of the grenade, but
that section right there.
Yeah. No kidding. I always wondered what that was.
I think Han Solo's
blaster is a World War II era.
Yeah, it's a Mauser, isn't it?
Yeah, but then part of like the barrel or something is like the stock from an old camera where the flash would connect to the camera body.
Where it has the cone?
No, so like literally
Yeah,
You're talking about the cone part? Because he has the cone at the end.
There's another part of his blaster where they took the big metal tube that would connect the light bulb to the body camera. They took that and they made it's like the part of the barrel or something like that. But I love how they just used random pieces and glued them together to make
that's Star Wars
blasters and lightsabers.
No, literally, like that's one of my favorite parts of playing the original, or not the original, the first remake Battlefront game, was that when you look at the blasters, they're all like on a grid, like it's like a menu. You can see all of them like side by side, and you can look and you can see like that's a 1911 with something added to the front of it.
Yeah,
that is a German. I can't remember the name of the
Ruger.
Luger is the one I'm thinking of. It's a Luger with stuff added to it.
Yeah.
Padme Amidala's blaster is, I'm pretty sure, the one that is a 1911 with something added on the front.
Yeah.
But it's just like you can see that they took a real life thing and they threw a sci-fi thing on it and made it Star Wars, and it's like super cool.
That is like the whole aesthetic of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Is like it's called like swarzing something. Is you take a practical item and you make it look in universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is it like? In the Discord that I'm in with the Mandalorian group, we have an entire shopping list of just items you can find on Amazon for $5 that were used on screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kit bashing is a wonderful thing.
It's amazing.
All right.
It's just like, how can we cut costs and make it look in universe?
Yes.
So coming in at number 3 is Qui-Gon's lightsaber. Qui-Gon, it is my Qui-Gon's lightsaber was my favorite hilt for years. He's the reason I liked green sabers for the longest time. Just Qui-Gon's hilt is like, we've already discussed it, but it's so clean. It's like it's classic. It's simple.
Is it? No, it's not. I was gonna say, is it the first green saber we see? And I instantly thought of Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nope, it's not. We
No.
saw Luke's long before.
Yeah. Yeah, love Qui-Gon saber. Like I said, we've already talked about it, but number 2 is Obi-Wan's first saber with
I
the
can't even remember his first saber.
Chonky
It's the one
pommel, man.
with the big ball on the end of the pommel.
I see it now. I see it now.
And he's got kind of the same emitter that Quinlan has, where it's like just a straight tube.
Right.
I love this lightsaber.
I love that lightsaber, except for the pommel.
Yeah.
It is the pommel that does it for me.
The pommel is huge.
It looks out of place for that lightsaber.
I don't know.
Me.
I like it. It looks cool.
Take nostalgia away from it. Look at it from a critical standpoint.
Well, because my list is very much just
objectify your subjective opinion, Josiah.
No, I'm just saying it's one of those things. It's are you able to do that?
Yeah, I like the way it looks. I like it's unique. It doesn't look like any lightsaber that we see in that era.
That definitely makes it unique.
That lightsaber has a D-ring on it, right? To hook to your belt, or was that Qui-Gon's?
I mean, they all do.
Qui-Gon doesn't have anything on it.
Then maybe it's one of the
His second one has a D-ring.
Because there's a D-ring on the pommel.
His Obi-Wan's second has a D-ring.
Okay.
Yes.
It has the black pommel with the silver D-ring in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked Obi-Wan's first lightsaber. I also I love part of that is I just love Phantom Menace. I love Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace.
I love him in it too.
And so just that lightsaber is very plus the when you see it on screen, I really like the way it looks. I like the pommel, even practically, if you're wielding it two-handed, then having that beefy pommel is going to help you. As someone who he rushes in, he's very you can assume by watching him and his character, he's probably a little heavy-handed, and so part of that is just the practicality of having that's what a pommel does on a sword is it helps you keep your grip, and also hit people with it. But
he strike them with the pommel.
Hey, I mean that's when you want a big thick pommel is when you want to.
Well, it's also got the little knobs. It's a ball. With the little square knobs on it, so you smack somebody with that. He wouldn't even have to ignite a saber. You smack somebody to tip them with that, they'll kill them. You hit them hard enough.
You're the DM. Are pommel strikes a free action?
Pommel strike isn't even a listed
action. Pommel strike would technically just be I think I would DM it as an unarmed strike, maybe plus.
Unarmed.
I would DM it as an unarmed strike.
I would DM it as you could bonus action a pommel. You could bonus action a pommel strike. It'd be a D4 plus your strength bludgeoning damage.
Okay. So you're basically allowing it's an unarmed strike, but you're allowing to roll.
Yep. It's not flat strength damage because you're going to add your strength to whatever strike you do.
Yeah.
Or dex, whichever one you prefer.
Yeah.
You still keep them engaged by giving them the ability to roll.
Yeah. That's fair.
Because if you constantly do numbers, they're not going to stay engaged.
Well, even the pommel strike, I think, is more. It sounds like it would be more of a.
I just wouldn't classify it as an unarmed because it literally
requires in the mechanics of D&D, especially 5e, that is the closest.
It would be a bonus action. Giving it a free action to do damage would make it too powerful.
Just action economy.
It's not powerful enough to constitute wasting your major action for.
Yeah.
So bonus action in the middle.
It's also not going to come up every combat and every turn. No one's gonna sit there and be like, I slice and I pommel strike. I'm like, as a fighting style, that sucks.
You could flavor it to be like a battle master action. You could make a custom battle master action as a pommel strike. Because they take the multiple actions.
You made the mistake of asking two DMs.
No, I
who
did
haven't
not
DM'd in years.
I did not make a mistake at all.
If you were DMing this and now this is...
I in the heat of the moment, if somebody really wanted to flavor a pommel strike as an action to give it weight, I would make it a bonus action. And I would make it a D4.
Yeah, I would also make it a bonus action. Well, an unarmed strike.
Yeah, but
it would be one of those things that you
look at an unarmed strike, the monks use unarmed strikes as their major actions.
Yes, well, they beef theirs, but you can also make an offhand attack. So I would
that uses a bonus action.
yes. So like that's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
but so it would be flavored as an offhand attack,
But it's a bonus action.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
because an offhand dagger attack uses your bonus action.
yeah. But you generally don't get to add your modifier.
But to give the pommel strike since it's being flavored.
Yeah.
Unless they take that fighting style.
Mm-hmm. 2-weapon fighting.
2-weapon.
We love. Oh, I love 2-weapon fighting.
We love
I
2-weapon
built
fighting.
I built
in
a
this house.
rogue. I built a rogue, with 2-weapon fighting, and he dual wielded rapiers, and
Nice.
it was so sick. And he 2-weapon fighting and dual. He took a dual. I took dual wielder, so you get that +1 to AC, and then as being a rogue, high dex, studded leather armor, dual wielder, you automatically get to with a +5 dex. You're already at 18 AC.
19 plus the defense.
And so yeah, I love. He was one of my favorite characters I ever built. He was a Gloomstalker Ranger, rogue, technically, kind of.
Battlemaster action, for like flavor wise, I would make it a DC save, and if the target fails it, they're stunned.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can see
Stunned
that
or
for sure.
dazed?
Stunned would be the
Or are
D&D
we still talking
mechanical.
about pommel strikes?
We're still talking about pommel strike.
So stunned or dazed?
Stunned.
There's no dazed in D.
There's
So
not.
we are talking D&D 5e because that is what we play.
Well, I play Starfinder, but I'm
know.
not familiar with it enough.
I don't know if the mechanics between Starfinder and
They're
Pathfinder
exactly the
are
same.
They're the same.
They're exact
It's
same.
just
It's just in the future.
So dazed is basically just kind of a weaker stunned. Daze really just kind of like it slows down their actions. It takes away like their main action.
Yeah.
I can't. It's been a long time, but they can still do things when they're dazed.
Stunned, they can't do it.
Mhm.
Stunned, they just basically lose their turn.
But
Dazed, they just
I think I would
have,
allow
like,
it.
severe penalties.
I would allow it to stun because if you think of like you're watching like I think of like movies and TV. If you're watching like something like a sword fight and
you hit somebody in the head with a pommel.
exactly like you're watching that sword fight and they're going like blow for blow and then someone like lands a pommel strike
It
to the
stuns
head,
them.
then that's like a moment where they stumble backward, their guard falls, and so like I would definitely say it would be stunned.
And it's especially since combat in 5th edition is broken down in 6-second increments.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would say what I don't know how many rounds, but if you make it rounds, it gives the player the option to divert to another target.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you hit them in their stunned state, they're going to lose the stunned status effect.
Yeah.
And you don't kill them. But
wouldn't if you hit someone who's stunned, is that basically just an automatic crit?
No.
no.
I know like when you
Auto crit is only for when you hit someone who's prone
Or
gonna say, 'cause, like,
restrained.
or restrained.
when you hit someone
Or
who's
restrained.
restrained or who's prone or who's
I
asleep.
thought restrained was just you don't have to roll to hit.
No. Restrained is auto crit. Prone is advantage.
well, I
Prone
don't.
is not.
Yeah,
Oh
prone is
no,
not
I
a
got
crit.
that so mixed up.
At least in
Forget what I said. Oh
3.5.
my gosh.
Restrained is an automatic crit.
Yeah.
Meaning they cannot do anything
Mhm.
to that
Yeah, and
melee
it-
attack.
Prone is advantage. Why did I?
And in 3.5,
Huh.
if I remember correctly, hitting a sleeping target is an auto crit because
There's-
when you're asleep you're defenseless, so
Yeah.
you have the time to make it a crit.
I don't believe there's an official rule in 5th edition for that, but I mean a lot of
I don't see why.
either that or I
wouldn't.
would give you advantage.
I would probably give you advantage.
Yeah,
Just because it like later levels like that.
Because the thing about 5e is that it's built to, even when you're doing the thing that your character is built to do, you can always roll a nat 1.
You can always fail.
You can always fail, and so
well,
which makes it interesting.
I guess it'd be the difference between take 20.
They do
versus-
not do take 10 or take 20 in 5th edition. Starfinder does take 10, take 20. They do
Sure.
not
Oh,
do
well,
that.
I've always treated take 20 as just like a homebrew rule.
No,
either-
take 20 is a legit thing.
Well, I know it is, but I've always treated it like a homebrew. It's like whether the DM allows you based on the situation, as opposed to rules as written. It's like, can I take 20 to do this? Can I? And it's always situationally based on the
Yeah.
DM's discretion.
So
The way that
Do you know what Take 10 and Take 20 are?
Yes.
Okay.
The way that 5e handles that the concept of a Take 10, Take 20 is that there is in the Dungeon Master's Guide, it lays out how to set a DC. And so the level of your DC, that way, like, if you have a level 1 rogue making a stealth check, if they take standard array, they have a +2, to dex, and then with their proficiency at level 1, that would also be, I think, that'd be another +2 plus their, and so like if you set the DC 5, that basically means you can't fail. If you roll a nat 1, you will still succeed, because a nat 1 does not mean failure, and a nat 20 does not mean success.
And rules wise in 5th edition, it only actually affects combat rolls.
Nat 20 and nat 1.
That's
one of the.
If
That's
we're going
like
as rules is written.
That's
it
fair.
Only affects.
That's fair.
Combatic rolls.
That's one of those that
Pathfinder is different.
We ignore that completely.
You can critically success and you can critically fail skill checks.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, 100%. Which I have never met anyone who only does nat 20, nat 1 in combat.
No, I don't do it either.
That is I've never met or spoken to anyone who is not even, that's unheard of.
It's always so much fun.
That's like the Uno they tweeted, like, just to be clear, the official rule is you can't stack a +2 on a +2, and then everyone commented was like, thanks Uno, you made the cards, thank you, we're gonna take it from here.
One of the funniest moments I ever had in a tabletop was my character we were in this cave and we were looking at this door in the cave, and I did a perception check. And this door was clearly like thousands of years old. I rolled a nat 1. So my character walks up to it and is just like, this door looks pretty new.
Yeah, but anyway, the way
like the situation of the red ball.
Not the ball. No object permanence.
Yeah, none.
Anyway, the way the D&D handles that concept is by they lay out how to set a DC. Like DC 30 is impossible. It is like quantified as impossible, and so if you can, like, that is like a max level rogue with all his proficiencies rolling with advantage, and like he has to roll a nat 20 because like those higher levels you're rolling with like +11, which granted,
unless you're like Solomon, this past Saturday rolled a natural 20 on an Arcana check and got a 31.
Well, skill checks are you have +11 that early?
Mm-hmm.
How?
I have a +5 in intelligence.
Plus your,
but my class allows me to add double my proficiency to things.
Okay.
4 skill groups that I'm proficient in.
Okay, so that's what it is.
So I'm adding, yeah.
So you have expertise.
I do.
At a low level is like, that's awesome.
Well,
actually.
we're level 7.
I guess we are level 7 now.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
I digress.
D&D 5e. D&D 5e uses setting the DC to a similar extent. If you as the DM want your player to succeed, to guarantee they succeed, you still have the whole thing about D&D is you still want your player to roll.
Keep them engaged.
And so even if they cannot fail, you're gonna set that DC low and you're gonna have them roll for it. Because then if they roll a nat 1, it's like you mess up real bad. Somehow you still make it happen though, and like that's just a fun, like, I enjoy like that side of D. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, like the DC is really low, but you fumble it just well enough.
Task failed successly.
Yeah. So what's your number 1?
My number 1, like we've done this every time, so y'all can try to guess.
Okay, so your number
5 was Canon, 4 was Obi-Wan's second and Luke's lightsaber. 3 was Qui-Gon. 2 was Obi-Wan's lightsaber, his original lightsaber.
Your number 1 is...
Y'all might be mad at me about this one.
Dark Ray.
He crapped on that earlier.
I know,
today.
but that's the only one I would be mad at.
Why would I be mad at you?
In a similar vein of like, Brady was like, well, I didn't know if we were doing the Old Republic. It's kind of like when I say
it's Revan's new one.
When I say it, you'll be like, oh, I didn't really think that was an option.
It's not the Old Republic? Oh, I rescind my guess.
Wait, so
I wasn't aware that we were using SWTOR. And the Ashlar one would have been on my list.
Right. I was only aware that we were only considering hilts, so to me, everything was on the table.
Yeah,
as a hilt.
That's why I asked. Nobody answered.
Steven was like, I have too many options.
Yeah. What would I be mad? What would you think that I'd get mad at?
Not like mad, but like
disagree with
that like, oh, I didn't think we were considering that.
The only thing I could think of are the two fake ones that I mentioned at the very beginning. I don't know. One of the toys.
You ready?
Yeah.
So my number one favorite lightsaber hilt of all time is the Lego lightsaber hilt.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm mad at myself for not thinking of that.
I also was going to say that it kind of related to, y'all guessed when I did my top 5 games that one of the Lego games would be up there.
Games.
The Lego lightsaber hilt. I have yet to get one, but I'm going to. I think the next time I go to Fan Expo.
So why is this one your favorite?
Well, one, just the pure...
clearly because it's got interchangeable rods.
One just the well, like just the look of it. I really like the it's a traditionally like when you use like a Lego minifigure to hold it, it's a one-handed hilt, and like the way that everything just just hugs the hand, it's a relatively thin neck or body with like a really big segmented pommel with the bottom pommel is also
the emitter,
big, and it can be an emitter. I really love the look of part of it is nostalgia, but if I was my next lightsaber that I buy will be the Lego lightsaber hilt, which a lot of the lightsaber companies
buy
are.
Your actual lightsaber.
Well, that will be significantly more expensive because the Lego hilt is on the cheaper side.
Semantics.
Finances. But yeah, I love the Lego lightsaber hilt. That is my favorite lightsaber hilt of all time. And now you can kind of understand that I didn't think we were considering that.
I'm surprised Starkillers wasn't on your list, to be honest.
Starkiller,
or the Tonfas.
His hilt itself never it's I mean it looks great. It never as Starkiller never really stuck out to me. What I love about Starkiller is just his story and his
his lightsaber hilt has always stuck out to me. It's always been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one I didn't really even consider.
I like the see-through plastic bits on it.
But yeah, so you guys were right. I will admit I was wrong when I said that top 5 lightsaber hilts would not be a full episode. We've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes about lightsaber hilts.
Oh, Windsor. He wants to give his top 5 lightsaber hilts.
He reminds me of Glada.
Glada?
He's old. He looks real mean, but he's actually kind of sweet.
Glader.
Glader?
Are you talking about Glader from Inheritance?
Oh, I haven't read anything.
You're talking about Ormus's dragon,
yes.
Right? It's Glader.
Glader?
Yeah, it's Glaidr.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, the audiobook, he says...
Yeah, it's Glader.
The way he pronounces it is Glada.
No, it's Glader.
Just so the folks know what we're talking about.
Just maybe because he's
so
British.
Just so folks know what we're talking about. Windsor is my cat. He's demanding
Windsor is Steven's son.
Windsor's my old man. What the heck? What was that?
He did not like that.
He's giving up his what's it called? Not the getaway nausea, that's on the hand. His heart of hearts.
Eldunari.
His Eldunari.
His Eldunari.
He's expelling his Eldunari.
What was that?
I have no idea.
It looked like he was about to like cough up a hairball.
He hissed.
He hissed.
He hissed.
Windsor never hisses.
Maybe he could tell that I don't like cat. I was just petting him.
I know. I was watching.
Well,
he never.
Yeah, he's never hissed at me before.
The only time he's ever hissed at someone was an old roommate of mine when I first got Windsor. Maybe a year after I got Windsor. Windsor was begging for food, and my roommate kind of kicked out his foot gently towards Windsor, just to be like, kind of get away from the table. Not never hit him, just kind of like use his foot to nudge him. But what he did was he hissed at Windsor at the same time, and Windsor just kind of looked at him, and he goes, and then the Windsor tries to get back up on the chair to get onto the table, and so he goes, and then Windsor responded with his own hiss, and then immediately went into my roommate's room and pooped on his pillow.
Oh, wow.
Windsor taught my roommate, don't you freaking hiss at me.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, it's been great. I look forward to more of these top 5 episodes in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of Always Two There Are, a Star Wars discussion podcast. You can reach out to us on through our email with any questions, comments, or concerns at a2ta.humancyborgrelations at gmail.com.
Without the
Yeah, sorry. I'll do it again. We can fix it in post. A2TA shoot. Try it one more time. A2ta.humancyborgrelations at gmail.com. It's a long email, and I have to say it every week. I like it. It's a long email. Human Cyborg Relations is more of a tagline, I feel like, than an actual body of the email. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. But it fits.
But yeah, you can also find us you can find me and Brady on Instagram at josiah.d.sims. And
you can find me at Calbriss, KALLBRYSS.
That is all we have for this week. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Nope. Gonna try that again. That's all we have for this week. We will see you next time.
Alrighty.
May the force go with you.
Adios.